Welcome back to This Side of 40. So, my hair's a little frizzy right here on the side, but don't mind that. So I wanted to kind of talk about hair products because I have people constantly inboxing me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I specialize in natural styling. That's my specialty. I do all types of hair, different textures, different races, ethnicities, whatever you want to call it. I do all kinds of type of hair. But my specialty is curly hair, and I just wanted to kind of get a little laugh, whatever you want to call it, off of some of the videos I've been watching on YouTube. I used to never comment on people's videos down at the bottom of their video or whatever. And today someone just said, watch the videos I watched before and kind of talk about them. One, the new thing in the natural hair community is people are just now going back to using grease. I never stopped using grease and water, just because that's what my mom used, and to me it worked. My mom, my grandma, anybody who I knew who did hair way back in the day. I remember when you get your hair pressed and you get a hard press, and they would use like a heavy oil. So the first couple of days of you getting a press, your hair would lay completely flat, and then over time it would get fuller and fuller and move around more. That was one. Then number two is, I remember when people used to do a ponytail, a quick weave ponytail. We used to call them prontos instead of calling it quick weave. It used to be called a pronto, and that meant that the person was going to glue your hair in. I remember when people preferred to get a pronto because your hair would lay flatter. Then, I guess, over time, people started getting to a point where they felt like they could do it themselves, so they would use the glue, the hair glue, and I actually should have a bottle of it. They would use the hair glue. They used to use a different kind, 30-second Salon Pros, kind of newer brand, like in the last 10, 15, 20 years, compared to some of the other ones. I remember it was just one that had the red top, and it was the bottle, you could just see through it and see that it had black glue in it or whatever. But people used to put the tracks in between their hair or whatever and didn't know how to properly take it out. So that's what started people to losing their hair. Then people used to get a fresh relaxer and get a quick weave the same day. You should not be doing a relaxer on the same day as getting your hair glued in. I know that your hair is going to lay flatter, smoother, whatever you want to say. However, that's not the best idea because the follicles are weaker. So I started to really just start this video today to kind of talk about myths and facts. Fact, all cosmetology schools are based off a book called My Lady. My Lady is like an old cosmetology book, and they've had revisions on it or whatever, but the reality is that relaxer companies, and I'm saying it just like this because I've called 5 different ones in the last couple weeks just to make sure I got clarification on this. Number one, there are several professional brands of relaxers and the relaxer companies state that you cannot have a color and a relaxer on the same hair. So a lot of stylists will say that you could put a semi or a demi color on your hair because there's no ammonia in it. However, if you mix a developer into a color, that means that there is an amount of ammonia in it because that bottle of developer is the ammonia. So dig that, whatever, take it for however you want to take it. Then a lot of people say, oh, you can get your hair lifted, lightened, whatever, without using bleach. This is not a true fact. You have to lift your hair up to get lighter colors. I.e., I'm a dark brown, and if I want to be 2 to 3 shades lighter, I'm going to have to bleach my hair. I cannot put color on top of my hair and think it's going to turn lighter. What will happen is it will turn orange, but it will not turn lighter. It just doesn't happen. You don't put blonde on top of brown and get blonde. It doesn't work like that. So that's the other thing. I've been I'm all over the place with this, but you guys will kind of get where I'm going once I get to the end of this video. So that's the other thing. Then at some point we went from having a Jerry curl to a wave nouveau to now we only have relaxers. A lot of salons do not do Jerry curls, wave nouveaus anymore. The reason why people's hair used to grow really good with those products is because they were heavy in moisture and your hair stayed moist all the time. Curl activator, curl gel, moisturizing creams, they were all geared towards that. However, after about the second or third retouch with those, people were noticing that their hair was not growing as good. And the reason why is because it's impossible to retouch without touching any of the mid-shaft, mid-strand with that Jerry curl, because the hair texture on the ends is going to drop and be curly, and then the roots are kind of like frizzy. I don't think black people's hair is it's not straight when it grows out. It's like a tighter curl, and it kind of bunches up. It grows out, it doesn't grow longer. It seems to expand as it grows. That's just something that pretty much happens to just about all black people. Then one of the girls made a statement about people with 3A, 2A hair. If you have a curl pattern in your hair, let's say you're Hispanic, Caucasian, a mixed race, you can use grease or petroleum-based products. However, you can only use it on the ends of your hair. And the reason why I'm saying only on the ends is because those products are so heavy that up by the roots, it would weigh your hair down. I would say use very, very little if you did use it, and use a lot of water and kind of rinse it out. But I don't think most people who do not have a tighter curl or drier texture hair, like you will know if you could use grease because your texture's so dry. The ideal is that if you do use grease, petroleum-based products, or anything like that has petroleum in it, Wild Grow, because I know a lot of people use Wild Grow, even Wild Grow, you will have to use a shampoo that does have a sulfate in it because you want to clarify the hair. That means you want to take everything out, then you want to deep condition, that's rebuild it, restructure it, and then add your products to it after it's dry. Then the other thing is, a lot of people complain about heat, like heat damage, heat or whatever. Certain textures of hair or certain just textures of hair work better with heat, like my hair. I'm like between a 3C and a 4A. I'm in between there, depending on what part of my head you're on. Some places on my head I'm a 3B, just depending on where you are on my head. So in those areas, I have to be a little bit lighter with product. If I don't want to have frizz, fly away, whatever, I have to use heavier oils with gels to make it work. That's the other thing. Then I have a client bring this up to me. She was going to somebody else. I'm not bringing up the old stylist name. I do know the old stylist. And the old stylist was telling her that she shouldn't use like Dax or certain petroleum-based products. However, her hair loves those petroleum-based products, and her hair actually grows better with them. Your hair will tell you if a product is for it or not. I always say use up one full container of a product before you pass judgment. It's not on the first go, are you going to love it? Like, my hair today is frizzy because I did my hair when it was wet, and I didn't put as much product in it to lay it down, so that's what I get. I know my hair personally styles better when it's dry. I am, like, if I'm going to do a twist out or whatever, I'll grease and water it and let it dry. But if I'm going to do an updo, I don't add any more water. I just kind of wet my brush as I'm going. That's just my personal thing. Then the other thing is conditioners. Some people love the spray-in conditioner. Some like conditioning cream. There is a conditioner pomade. You have to find the one that works for you best. Then a lot of people complain about like anything that has an alcohol in it. You have to realize that coconut itself, coconut oils, whatever, they have an amount of a natural alcohol in them. So let's say you're using coconut oil and over time your hair seems to not be holding the moisture as well as it was in the past. That means that your hair has become sensitive to that type of alcohol. It's not a bad alcohol, it's just a type of alcohol. So maybe switch up your product, clarify your hair, and start all over. Then sulfate-free shampoos. Be careful with sulfate-free shampoos because sulfate-free shampoos will leave your hair feeling moisturizer, but that means that there's still some amount of that product that you had in your hair previous to washing it remaining in your hair. If you do not believe me, take a clarifying shampoo. I'm always telling people, even go buy that neutralizing shampoo people used to use to wash out their relaxer with. Buy that, wash your hair with it, and see what you get out of it. I always say put a white towel down and see what comes out, because you will see that those products didn't all the way 100% come out of your hair. That's the other thing. Then how are you supposed to, because everybody's always talking about the density, porosity, and those things that go with your hair, and texture. Texture begets a lot. If you have curly hair, your texture, that's the texture. Then the density is how much hair you have per square inch. Like, I really don't have baby hair. I don't have the little fine pieces of hair right here. These little frizzy flyaways, that's not due to breakage, because I know a lot of people say, oh, frizz is from breakage. No, it's not always from breakage. It's just some people's hair is naturally meant to be frizzy. Frizz is a good thing depending on your hair texture. We'll get into that in another video. But I'm just sharing this information because I think a lot of people go to cosmetologists or salons and get their hair done, and then they end up coming out with a bad feeling. A haircut and a trim are two different things. Interview your stylist. Make sure they know the difference between a cut and a trim. A trim is an inch or less. A haircut is an inch or more. Once you start going into inches, you're not going to have no hair. Realistically speaking, the average black person period, is 6 inches of hair of growth a year. So you get a half an inch a year, a month, and that turns into 2. Some people only get a quarter of an inch a month, and then that only turns into 3 inches of the year. So you need to know your growth rate before you start going and dipping and dabbing in different things. This is your girl Lou from This Side of 40. Please like, rate, and comment, and subscribe. And if you have something that you feel like I didn't touch on when it comes to your hair growth journey, leave a message.